Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another show here on my podcast. This is called Walking with a Master, and it's based on our walking with Dr. Moses Powell. There will be others that may not have walked perhaps with him, but I'm telling you right now, in this early period, we want to walk that walk that we need to walk, and we know that Doc walked it, and we have followed that walk that he has done. So it's based on that. But for me, I get an opportunity to walk with each of the masters who have walked with him. And so I'm walking with the master that walked with the master. And this master's name is Grandmaster George Logan. Now, before we get started, I want you all to listen. Right now, you are watching this. I want you to share this with everybody you know. Share it not only with masters or with other martial artists, but share it with others because they will learn something from this interview. They will learn something coming on this podcast. It's absolutely something that they should do. So share it. Also, what I want you to do too, if you want to keep knowing what is happening, subscribe. Subscribe to this podcast, and you're going to subscribe to my channel, which is the official Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad YouTube channel. All right, so we're live right now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram. So enjoy this here. So I'm Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, formerly known and still known as Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad, that is out there. So I want you to know that I've gotten the blessing to get a name change, but not just by calling myself anything. I was given this name by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I'm excited to to hold this name and to lift it up to everyone that's on here. So this is not about me. This is about the master that I'm walking with, and that master is Grandmaster George Logan. My brother, how you doing?
Thank you much, GM. Thank you for this interview, and I want to thank everybody that's going to be listening to this as well. And I encourage everybody to tell somebody about it.
Man, that's right. That's right. That's right. And you know how we start? We start this off. I look at the tree. The tree is so important when we're talking about the tree of the art and where we come from. And so I want to get to you. Pardon me. I want to get to you all, and let's talk about where did you come from? What is your roots? Let me hear what your roots is in the art.
Yes, I started martial arts in 1967 under teaching of Antonio Paredes Sensei in the Bronx, Tremont School of Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. And there I started in 67, and then a year or two later I moved on to Connecticut, where I started judo training there. And also I started Shotokan Karate at that point. And I went on to be an avid judo champion and player and all the above. But when I first seen Dr. Powell, I think it was a documentary they should have, Black Is, I think it was called. And they had hosted him as well as Grandmaster Cofield and Ronald Duncan. So I had never seen black people, before, and not that martial art has any kind of race or gender to it, but I had never seen a black man perform like this. And of course, that was our heroes in them days. I mean, other people had Batman and Robin. we had Dr. Powell and Sophie Littlejohn. That was our heroes.
That's right. That's right.
And so the first time I really laid eyes on him physically was this brother. His name is Jihad Shabazz, formerly AKA George Brumsey, and he was a Muslim brother. And he had seen Dr. Demo in Brooklyn, so he was so taken by him that he brought him to New Haven, Connecticut and stuff. And it was at a local high school. And on that demo was Grandmaster George Cofield as well as Dr. Powell. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the end, no doubt. It was amazing. The words can't describe what I seen. He was so fluent, so fast. I remember thinking, I said, this guy is fast as light, as smooth as smoke, and as sure as death. I mean, it was amazing. And he had the crew with him then. We labeled them the Fantastic Four. And that was Grandmaster Lumumba, Sophie Littlejohn Davis, Brother David, and Brother Jeffries and stuff. And they were amazing. You know, uh, Grandmaster Cofield's demo was amazing as well. But Doc was just doing things that was unseen before. And this was before the karate movies came about. I think they came more or less in the early 70s or so. But Doc, the Sophie Little Guy came out and he was like a machine gun. He was just blasting people. It was like rhythm. His hands were so fast, you couldn't even see it going out. You could only see it coming back. And all of them were really distinct. Brother Jeffries and stuff had more of a Aki-Jitsu flavor. So everybody had their own personality. Brother David was more like a ninjutsu, so to speak. And Grandmaster Lumumba was more of like a Fujo Pai jiu-jitsu, and Doc was all the above, and anyway, they did their thing, and then Doc came out, and man, he was throwing people. First he worked with one person, then he worked with two people, then he worked with three, then he was working with all four of them, and all you could see was bodies flying, but it was definitely art in motion. It was beautiful, and at that time, like I said, I was studying Shotokan Karate and stuff. And so I said, listen, I'm doing the wrong thing. All due respect to Shotokan and everything else. But I said, I'm doing the wrong thing. I said, I need to do that. I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And so Sensei George Brumby at that time had brought him into the New Haven area. And he was training with him then. And so we used to do classes with him when Doc would come through. And then Doc had purchased a house in New Haven, Connecticut. He bought a home there. And so he was in the area quite frequently then. And then later on, Sophie Littlejohn moved there. This was in 1969. 1969 and stuff. And it wasn't even Scianuka then. We were doing self-defense complete. That was, I know some people may argue the point that Scianuka was created in 1958. I'm pretty sure he had ideas at that point in time, but I never heard the phrase coined until like 72 or 73. Our understanding was that we were doing self-defense complete. And so anyway, Sophie Littlejohn had moved there as well, and he was staying in Doc's home as Doc was touring the world and stuff. But that was my introduction to Dr. Powell as well as Sophie Littlejohn. Then, it was one of the greatest moments of my life, no doubt, and at that time, I never thought that I would be training as much as I did, and because, then you're pretty young then, you know what I'm saying? And, there was no kid classes then. It was only adults, when I first got into martial arts, the makeup was like 80% adults, 10% women, 10% kids, so we had to get in where we fit in. And that was with the big boys and stuff. So the training too was so much different then too as well. It was turbulent times then. You had the civil rights movement and what I mean, the threat of revolution. So the meaning and training was so much different then. Not to knock any of training today, but we trained for a different purpose then, and it was more intense. And we had 3-hour classes then. And of course, that training continued from that. I never took a break, I never hiatus or anything of that nature. And around 95, I essentially started training with Dr. Powell from 95 to 2005. That's when the training really got intense. We would have him in New Haven at the New Haven Community Field House Center. And we would come on Wednesdays, and then we would meet again on Saturdays in Hartford. And you know that because you attended some of those classes in Hartford as well and stuff. But I never thought that the decade, every year, every month, every minute, every second. I really cherish that, because I got so much out of it, and outside of that, I developed a great relationship with Doc, and it was just something that we clicked together, because we was on the mat so many hours, but he became a very, very personal friend. And I have many friends, but I can say that Doc's done things for me that my friends that I know for years wouldn't think of doing, and I'm not a morning person, I'm a night owl. So sometimes I would go to sleep 4 o'clock in the morning or so, and Doc would call me every morning at 6 o'clock. That's Doc. Kid, you ain't woke, get up. That kind of a thing. And he was, what you gonna do today? What's on the plan? And it was just an inspiration, and he was encouraging me, because I was doing different kind of programs for Yale and all different kinds of programs, with different colleges as well as community centers and after school programs and things. And so, and so that's how we start out a day, and basically he would say, are you coming down here? But if not, I'm coming down there. And Sophie Littlejohn would call me from time to time. We would speak, and I was like, I got somebody here you might know. I put Doc on the phone, and they would talk, And so he was like, damn, he's there all the time, as well as Professor Hudman, because a lot of times in his travel, if he was going through New York or whatever, me having his driver, people know him as Chief Professor Greg McCall. He would come to my house, and it'd be late at night, so he would spend the night, and if we were down there and stuff, we would do the same. It's like it's too late now, so we would be sitting at the kitchen table or something, and Gina would be cooking, and he's like, throw a punch, grab me, and so. And so again, we had such a great relationship, man. No doubt about it. Not only was he a great teacher, but he was a great, great friend, and I truly miss him, no doubt.
Yes, yes, yes. That's beautiful. Let me ask this question: as it relates to the kind of training that you received and that was being given out, kind of go into what was some of the training like?
It was long. It was long. We would work out for 3 hours. You know what I mean? And we wasn't content then. We couldn't do all that we could do in 3 hours, but we tried to put it in. And then a lot of times, we would be in the sun. It would be 98, 99 degrees. That's when summers were summers, and we'd be under the tree. And then Soke and Dr. Get from under that tree is a good day to sweat. So we would be out there and stuff, and we used to do these fingertips, the pyramid push-ups. You would get a guy, we had a guy that was physically, in shape. He would pump off 200 and stuff, and you look around, Doc was like, that's great. So do something like this now, where you extend your hands over your head, do the pyramid, stand up on your fingers. That was a whole different story then, right? And then we would do the exercise. This is just exercise. And then we would get on the floor. We would put our leg out in the side kick position. We would hold that. And you do a count of 40. And then you do on both sides. You come back and do 30 and 20 and 10 and 5. And so your leg felt like it was going to fall off, And then we would be in horse stances. So, Doc would have you in a deep horse stand. You push your hands out to the wall, And he would go take a break. And when he come back, you better be in that same position. And if you wasn't, so your little John had to shenai. And that was a wake her up just in case you fell asleep. That would get your attention, get you back into the mold.
Yes.
But I swear, man, we used to be in horse stances so long that our imprint was left in the grass. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. And then it was a little bit more physical then. You know what I mean? You give something, you take something, and that's how we done, and we trained so hard, man. Like, listen, if your gi wasn't ripped or you didn't have blood on your gi at the end of the week, we'd be like, what kind of training did you do? You do no training. You ain't bleeding, your gi's intact, So it was definitely different then. You know what I mean? And stuff.
Yes.
And when we would fall on the floor. We didn't have no mat, we'd fall on the floor. A lot of times we did, and there was like Professor Warrington Hudson was part of that crew, as well as our friend had passed, Billy Parker, Glenn Drew. There was James Shepard, and then some other studies as well. And Professor Walt came a little bit later on. He came into the mix as well and stuff.
Hmm.
But it was hard times, no doubt, you know. But we enjoyed it, man. You know, we got busted up when we were young. We healed fast, you know? And it was a fun thing, no doubt. You know.
That's great. That's great. Now, in terms of students today and students of yesterday, let's talk to me about the difference at this time that you see.
Yeah. Well, you know, I first remember when it went from 3 hours to 2 hours, and I was moaning and groaning, you know, and then I seen it change uh, to the hour thing, and I was like, listen, we used to exercise 45 minutes. What the hell can you do in an hour? You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right,
And
right,
and
right.
it's, you know, again, not to speak bad about today's martial arts and everything, but you know, it's so much more leisure these days. You know, we didn't have any
Yes.
Coca-Cola breaks and stuff, no water breaks, and we was outside under the sun. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right,
stuff.
right,
And if somebody
right,
got touched, and you will get touched, you know, it's not like, oh well, I'm gonna get a lawsuit. You know, and if you
right.
shed a tear, you're gonna shed three more because you're gonna get hit again.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so
That's
the
right.
training was so much intense then, you know, again, because of the time, I assume, you know, and people were loyal. People were loyal, man. If you missed a class or two, Dr. Sophia sent somebody to your house to find out why. And they come, I mean, in a threatening manner, too. It ain't like, you know what I mean? We goofing around. What's up? You ain't show the class.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
And sometimes
right.
they take your patch off. strip you, strip you. You know, they ain't about to rank around your waist. It was the patch that you was representing. You know, if you wasn't
Yes,
representing, man, they snatch it off. You know,
yes.
so,
That's something.
so the
That's
training was
something.
so much more intense then. But I appreciate that, you know, because
Yes.
you know, and again, because of martial arts being so commercial these days, people conform and doing this. So when you kind of, you know, stick out like an oddball, you know what I mean? But you still try to
Hmm.
bring the flavor and give what you got. But truly, I don't think they can hang with the things that we were doing, man. You know, even with Soke,
Right.
man, he was on the championship circuit then. And every class, man, you had to fight everybody in that class, and then you had to fight him. You know what I mean? For real, that was gonna happen every day. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
sir.
you go through
Yes, sir.
everybody. You know, and you know, today again, they don't train. And we didn't have any guard. You know, all we had was a mouthpiece if you were lucky. You know what I mean? But there was no
Right.
headgear, no gloves. In fact, that came
No,
about in
that's
like
right.
73 or 74. We were plowing on that then. You know, so everything was a little bit more real, a little bit more intense, and people were devoted. You know, and if you was a green belt, you know, you honored that. You know, if you was a green or purple belt, you honored that. You know, it's not like today when people are claiming themselves to be this and that and all the above. You know, because martial arts, you know, was far and few then. So if you was a green belt or a purple belt, you was just that. You were never a green belt that said I'm a brown belt, and a brown belt said I'm a black belt. And so, you know, this had more meaning to the art. It was just more truthful, more upfront, opposed to it is today. You know.
Man. Well, that's excellent. And we're going to take a moment to just check something out. I mean, what's going to happen is that you're going to demonstrate some things, and we're going to show that in just a moment.
course.
All right. All right. So that's all good. But so let's continue on. Let's continue on. And in terms of your school, you right now, and what you're doing right now, kind of touch on that a little bit.
Well, we're at the CT School of Survival in New Haven, Connecticut, as well as we had a Hartford branch, but we got involved with so many programs we had to let that go. But we're still established in the New Haven area. And I've had students that have been with me now for 20 plus years now. So it's truly a
Beautiful.
family thing. You never forget where you come from, and I think Professor V, and I know because, as we speak, things are being created in our system. Of course, we keep the DNA, which is very, very important, which is very, very important. So, I have students who've been with me for quite some time now. When the pandemic came about, we was lucky enough to survive through Zoom, and with the air movement that we do, knowing that the nose to the nose and the collarbone to the collarbone, wherever it may be, we made some advancements, pressure will bust a pipe, and so we kept it moving, we established new drills, new fighting drills, as well as self-defense. We made a couple of self-defense sets, and I labeled it the quarantine set because we was in quarantine as we did this. But it's amazing because the way that, the understanding that my students have, and it was passed on to me, when we got together during the summertime at the park, because it was a safer environment, we're taking the temperature checks and masks and gloves and sanitizer as well. But everybody was on point. Everybody was on point. Everybody knew those sets, and that was amazing, that and they were making the classes, every Zoom class. So we were doing Zoom for 3 times a week, and it really, really paid off. And the way we were doing, also we're doing a roll call, so we
Yes.
would do the drills, and then I would stick out 1 or 2 individuals or all, and we would zoom in on them to make sure they were doing the correct movement, and and we survived. And in the sets, and when I say sets, I seen Sinukas. Well, it came from Self Defense Complete to Sinukas, and then the later the installment, which was Sinukas Eye to Eye. So I've seen it go through different phrases rather, excuse me. And I wanted to document these things, because it was great techniques. But I found that sometimes if you was in class on Monday and you come back Wednesday, people had a different look on what it was. You know what I'm saying? So it was getting watered down, so to speak. And so, being in judo, you have sets. You have sets of throws, and as well as the katas with numbers. You document these great techniques, man, because there's been so many great techniques. And I was saying, it's a sin, truly, right, for this to be passed over and distorted and watered down. So what I would do was I would take the conglomerate of techniques and Sinukas, and as well as the Kumite Ryu, and I would number these techniques from 1 to 10. And so we were trying to keep it true to what it was, And so we created these sets and stuff. And I was telling Doc as well, if Funakoshi had never numbered the katas and heians and stuff, then Shotokan never would have been, because everybody would have had a different look on how it was, and it would have been totally distorted and stuff. And Doc would encourage you to put your own spin on it, of course, to evolve from that. But I would tell him, all due respect, I want to know how you did it and stuff. And once I master that, that's like the blueprint, and from that I can create and evolve from that. But I think it's very important to stay true to your roots. That DNA has to be there. You don't want Kung Fu to look like a Taekwondo to look like Ishin Ryu. And so this is the reason why I created these sets. And I've done that in 1976. 1976. Me and Billy Park, he was the co-producer of getting these sets and forms together. And it was really helpful when Soke created the Kumite Ryu in the latter part of 79 into early 80. And, one of the students that came to him and told him, George got a conglomerate of techniques. He got a number. And so Soke was like, let me see. And I showed him the first technique I ever learned from him. And so it's like, okay, that's my work. And so it was it was really good for him when he was formulating the system of Kumite Ryu. But so this is when I speak of the sets, this is what I'm speaking on and stuff. And again, we have different sets, and they're all labeled from 1 to 10.
Awesome, man. That's great. And as I um, have studied Grand Professor V and whatnot, you know, what you're doing and what you've done is organize and uh, set it so that it is a system and not just something to learn just to say that you're a black belt. That you can perform, but you can teach someone else. And that's what I see as a difference in various persons, that you can make a person look good, but how is their foundation, their basics, and moving down the line. And you do a very good job of teaching the basics. When I say the basics, meaning giving a foundation to students. You have very good students, and I appreciate seeing that.
Well, thank you much. You know what doctors say, if you don't have basics, you don't have nothing, you know? And that is the foundation, like a foundation to a house. You have a lousy foundation, you know what I mean? It might look pretty, but you have a lousy foundation and the storm comes, house is gone.
That's right.
You know?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Why don't you talk to me about, talk to us, and I want everyone, take the time to share so that others can get on this and get this as you're getting it, and also continue to subscribe. So this pandemic that we're in, this situation that we're going through, how are you handling the pandemic at this time with your students and those that are coming to your school?
Well, luckily, everybody doesn't agree with it, but I got my shots. But again, things are getting better now. We're under 2% here in Connecticut and stuff. And back in the summer, it was under 1%. If Hector and Junebug put on their masks and stuff, then it would be even better. But so we have been working outdoors, like I was saying, at the park. And it's funny, I told my students it's full circle. When Soke and Doc first came in, this is where we used to work out at. So it was like going back home, so to speak. And but anyway, as we came into the dojo and in the early October, we were taking small groups of people. We're leaving the windows open. Of course, we're wearing our masks. We're taking temperature checks. And a lot of ventilation. We had the fans open as well, going as well as opening the windows and stuff. And my student, one of his brother-in-law, manufactured sanitizer. So we never run out of enough of that. And so this is how we've really been getting along with Zoom as well. This is what brought us through this pandemic, and that's what we're doing here and now.
Well, that's excellent. Excellent that you are taking the precautions necessary to make sure that the students, do what is necessary to keep everybody else safe, and themselves as well. So that's something that we all have to look at and make sure that we, with regard to masking up and gloves and those kinds of things, definitely something that we should do.
You talk about docs, right? Each one teach one. That spreads many ways. My students, man, before and after class will come out and mop the floors and the mats. You know what I'm saying? As well as sanitize the door and the benches and things like that. So that's the first line of self-defense, right?
Yes. Hey, complete.
Full circle, right?
Yeah, full circle. That's right. Now let's talk about this. I introduced it to everyone because I'm a stickler and I really want everyone to respect those that are in the lineage. Because many that are in the lineage are not maintained and lifted as we should lift them. Those that have come prior, back in the day, and I'm talking to masters that have done that have been here in the early days, there's a price that was paid. And no matter what, the price that was paid has to be respected by everyone. And I say that, and I look at it like a family, and there are brothers and sisters that may have been around when mom or dad was coming through learning, and you know how it is. You're a grandfather, right?
Yes, sir.
And the children, your children will say, well, at least I know mine do. They say, you don't treat them as you don't treat your grandchildren, my children like you treated me, So
Right.
the children had gone through something uh more serious. So you should respect the older brothers, the older sisters in the family, not just your mother and your father, but those who came before you. You should respect them. So, as it relates to our system and just martial arts in general, because you have different martial artists on here, what do you say to those who look to bypass the elders in the system and in your particular system?
You know, you have to respect those who come before you. Those are the ones who open the door, set the table so you can eat. And being in a judo background, is much, much respect from the beginning to the end. And it's nothing but that. So I came with that attitude. I definitely came with that attitude. And at my seminar the year before, I had one of the judokas, which was my assistant judo sensei, man, and he's a historian, but he demands respect and he gives respect, and he had a long speech on that. And I think that's something that's missing today in the martial arts. You got a lot of new jacksons coming up, and because it's not as physical as it was before, it
Hmm.
can get challenging and things get out of hand. And this is why you have people leaping through ranks and stuff like that, So the respect is a must, because now these people think they know it all, before they even got before they learned the lesson, you know. Taco said it's a seven meal course, you know what I mean? So don't leave on on the salad, you know what I mean? We still got the dinner coming, you know. But
Right,
the mindset
right.
is different. I think Professor B said he thinks he knows it all is a fool, for his learning has ceased. But he who knows he knows not is the enlightened one. And so,
Mm.
respect and being humble will get you so far, you know. And this is why I continue to train with Doc to the point that when he passed, and as well as Soke here and now, because what I know, but I can always get more, and I'm always hungry for more.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful. I appreciate that tremendously. We've had, Grand Grandmaster Bill, and we've had Soke, of course, was the first one we had on here.
Of course.
Grandmaster Bill. We have Grandmaster Robert Crossan, who was back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are just persons who we've had on to give light and to lift them. And we have you now. All of it is about lifting and making sure that as you lift, and if you look at lifting weights, uh, how you lift the weight is also very important. Not just pick the weight up, or just get it up in the air, because if you
Right.
do it improperly, it can cause injury to you. And
Correct.
so I want to make sure that all of the masters that came, we want to lift them and make sure that they're lifted properly, and not to give our own swing to who should be lifted, but we're going to give the lineage the opportunity first, and then we give others are going to be coming right behind in this. And again, this platform is for you, is for all of us to be able to get on, share what we need to share, and enjoy the life of somebody else. Because this is one thing I'll say, brother Grandmaster uh, Logan, in terms of when we talk about Doc, our own perspective of Doc is like light shining through a diamond. And you look at the light that you saw is through the prism, that angle that you saw, which is absolutely a beautiful spectrum of light that comes through it. But if what this is all about is to get the spectrums of light that each of the masters got, so that you can see the diamond for its beauty and its, but you can't enjoy the beauty of the diamond unless you look at the whole diamond.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So
Of
that's
course.
what this is all about. And now I just want you to know that you're one of those spectrums of light, that is seen. And if we're looking to see Doc, then we look at your spectrum and every other spectrum of light, so that we can see the beauty of Doc through all of those spectrums. So I just wanted to let you know that you are part of that essence, of what he presented and where he has come from.
Well, so thank you much. Doc has taught so many people so many different things. He would give me certain things. He said, I know you've been around the corner 2 times. You're going to be on the block. So take this with you. And so when we all get together, we have somewhat of an idea of what Sinus is all about. Because there's been so
Yes.
many different phases, and it's giving so many people different things at different times, But I can say one thing. I know that Sinus lives in us, and I know it's alive and well when I look at people like you and the other great Sokes and grandmasters and Shihans and even senseis and the people that he's touched. It was said that, he said one time he said that they asked how many students he ever taught. And he said, well, listen, I'll tell you in short. If there was a football field and they was all on it, you wouldn't be able to see a blade of grass.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's right. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Well, let me ask you, in terms of in terms of how we do what we do, and speak about unity. What should we do, and what will it produce, or show our students if unity happens within our body of in our system?
Well, so I think unity is a great thing. Even in my seminars, I tell people, I can care less about your style or your labels or titles. We leave the egos at the door. Ego has no place in the martial arts. Those people who they're egotistic, believe me, I've been doing this for going on 54 years, and I've seen them come and go, and they were all egotistical. It should be united where I can send my student to you, and you send my student, you send me a student, and vice versa, and it goes on and
That's
on to the next master. If Doc gave them this knowledge and this rank, man, they're deserving of, being part of the family, so to speak. But you always have those people who want to go outside of the family. Hopefully they can find their way back. The family's always going to be that,
Yes.
But you're
Yes.
creating a monster. And when people are creating a monster, when they show that fraction, that division, and speak bad about other masters or shihans or whatever it may be, professors, because listen, you're teaching them because after all they're gonna talk bad about you. You see what I'm saying? And stuff, man. And there's no room for that friction and BS and stuff, man, that many people carry with them. It's a chosen few that are truthful, and those people will profit, and like yourself and others, you know. But you're always gonna have those people who have their own agenda, so to speak. And so I mean
Yes,
that's
sir.
fine and well, but never forget where you come from. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
if I move to California, my brother's still my brother, my sister's still my sister, and so
Yes.
and our setting, that's kind of what we do. We look out and we mentor each other. If you need a ride, I'll come and get you. You need this, I'll do that. Unlike a lot of karate schools, and so I'm not knocking karate or any other martial arts school. You can live on the same block, and it could be 10 miles away, and it could be snow and stuff. And he'll see you at class. You get there the best way you can, and it may wave, toot the horn when you're out there walking in the snow.
That's
So,
right.
but we truly have a family orientation thing, and I think that's what makes it so unique. Our family, and knowing that we don't know it all. You know what I mean? knowing that
That's
we
right.
don't know. Because, like I said, as we speak, I know you got something on your mind. You're going to be creating something, as well as the other grandmasters and professors and everything. So this was so good about it, man. The knowledge never ceases. You're always learning something. And the days you don't learn something, something's wrong. You know, even
Yes.
if I have to
Yes.
certify the things that I do know, that needs to be known. You know, for real.
That's right. That's right, man. It's really a true blessing to hear what you are saying, and I'm so happy that all of you that are listening right now. I mean, you're looking at this, you're listening to these words. These are the kind of words that are coming from someone who's not just somebody that just came through the door just yesterday. This is someone who has been around for some time, and it was during the hard knocks, okay? Because everybody didn't come through that time portal, you know what I mean? Everybody didn't walk through, those 3 hour classes or more or whatever the case. Everyone didn't come through that portal. Some came at a different time. So, time is what it is. But the point is that you are hearing this wisdom coming from someone who has the ability to say that they are one of those who was back there in the day getting it when the getting was good. So I appreciate it because working out hard. I remember back in the day. I mean, I think about the stretching that we used to do. Remember, Logan, when when we would be sitting down and the pull would be to bring your behind up in the air. They would bring you up in the air while they're pulling you. I mean, and you would be, and that's when the count would start while you. Man, it was incredible stuff, man. It was just
Whoa.
great
I
time,
know,
man.
I know you remember the 6 inches off the floor and, and the
Oh,
minister
yeah,
the
and
shot as
everybody
well.
getting up, running across you, and then coming back down, so that
Right.
so you would get
They
the
wasn't
punching
walking, they were running.
running on you. That's right. That's right. Beautiful stuff, man. And guess what? And we enjoyed it, and it was just great. So let me ask you, Grandmaster, in terms of building a school. Why don't you talk about some aspect of that, or what's your view of developing a school? What is that to you?
Well, I think it's very important, to transmit this information and to keep the system alive. Without that, if you don't have any growth and development, things die. So I think it's very, very important, and this is why I try to keep it in the text that I got it. And of course I put my own spin on things, but when I do, I let them know. What I mean, this is from Doc, this is from Soviet, this is something that I intertwine and stuff because of judo comes to jujitsu. So of course, it really helped me tremendously with the balance and the locks and the chokes, and so I'm very technical, and I'm very repetitious. Repetition is the best teacher. I can
That's right.
teach you something or you can learn something. If you only do it once, then you're kind of vague with it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I think that this is a tremendous way to retain the information that was passed on to us because people spend lifetimes in their career gathering this information. And so I think that the school setting and stuff and everything is very serious with us, man. I think if you have a very relaxed atmosphere going on in your dojo, more than likely you're not going to have a dojo that's going to succeed or it's going to be around for any length of time. Like I said, I have students who've been with me over 20 years, and it starts from having that serious mindset. Even when I do the after school program, I tell the kids, the laughing and playing is over with. You got all day long to play. Don't come here to do that, man. For real. Your feet should be at a 45-degree angle, legs straight, hands down by your side, tight clenched fist, head straight, eyes straight, no movement, waiting for instruction. And so we're trying to give them more than just a kick punch. We're giving them, respect for themselves and others, focus, discipline, self-esteem. These are life lessons. And this is what we try to do. And even before any kick or punch is thrown, I have pictures on my wall of Doc, Professor V, and Sophie Littlejohn. I let it be known. I tell them who this is my teachers, and this is what we do. And that's before anything is done. And you have to bow in and off the mat. You know what I mean? You ain't on the block And the block is always waiting for you, but it's not here and now. So I think these things, letting them know we're doing something serious here, man. So all that lollygagging, you got to, go somewhere else with that, and don't bring it here because we're not about that. And I think these are the bricks that help build the house and the dojo, so to speak, and stuff. Is these kinds of things.
Man, that's great. I want to thank you again for having just coming on and sharing what you have shared with everyone that's on this podcast. I appreciate it. I want to thank you.
I appreciate you having me, no doubt.
and listen, I'm going to definitely be looking for you again because this is our platform to talk to everyone that's out here. This is for you, every one of you that are looking at this. We're doing it for you. So make sure that you stay tuned to us. Listen, my brother, I want to thank you for being present. And if you don't mind, please keep us on a speed dial because we're going to dial you in a minute to get you back on.
No doubt.
Anything you want to say closing out?
I just want to say I want to thank you again for this interview, and I encourage everybody who's listening to this interview to stay tuned for the next interview. And as you said, share this. Tell a friend to tell a friend and stuff. And history is very important. And we've had some historians that's been on here, that's going to be on here. So if you want to know the history of martial arts and know it for real, stay tuned because it's coming at you.
That's what I'm talking about, my brother. Man, may God continue to bless you. I look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon. And we're looking for this pandemic to give us some way so that we can begin to travel like we used to travel and have the kind of gatherings that we used to have and make them even bigger. But in truth, we're making our gatherings big now through methods like we're doing right now. So again, peace. And take care.
And GM, that's our motto, man. We're survivors, survival.
Come on now, that's right.
We're gonna make it work.
That's good. All right, well, take care, my brother. Us.
Thank you much. Eye to eye.
Heart to heart.
Every student of a master here today, you reflect your master teacher. You want to walk like him. You want to talk like her. But you start by having an object in front of you that you admire.